Previously on Balls.
Just so you know, guys, Bollocks is backed by TopOdds.com. Top Odds is a betting site a sports betting site where you can bet on just about any sports event you want. I know the Winter Olympics are on there. They're about to start, aren't they? I'm just looking at a huge storm blowing up about the fact that our Sive Spielman, South Africa's black skier, was happy to go to Sochi. He qualified for this Winter Olympics in Russia, and Saskok says he can't go. I think that's a hell of a story. But we're not going to touch on that. We're going to touch on Top Odds with Brandon. We've got 500 Rand from Leon Petzer to put on any game we want. Dylan, I'm going to leave it to you this week. You and Comfort can decide which game we're going to put it on. Brandon, are you there?
Yes, I know. Right,
Brandon, if I can just tell our listeners, go to www.topods.com and Top Odds Compare, they're called, at topods.compare on Twitter. Brandon, how are you doing, mate? We won one and nearly won one last week. Sunderland, we hoped that Sunderland would beat Southampton. In the end, it was a draw. They came back from 2-0 down. And the other bet we took last week was correct. Chelsea to beat Man United. Samuel Eto'o hat-trick, 3-1 win. And yeah, absolutely. Comfort, calm. And we're looking at a situation, Brandon, where we've got 500 Rand. We're going to put a single 500 Rand bet on. Obviously, the big game in South Africa tonight is Kaizer Chiefs against the cocktail drink Mamelodi Sundowns. What do you think?
Well, first of all, I think last week we should have just put all our money on Chelsea. The way Sunderland performed in that first half, it was disappointing to have money on them and then to fight back and draw the game.
Yeah,
a little bit bittersweet. But yeah, definitely. I mean, tonight, Sundowns Chiefs, massive game. Sundowns, both bookmakers, Allen Bookmaker and World Sports Betting, they've got them up at 18-10. Yep. The draw at 21-10, and Kaizer Chiefs 16-10. Now, I'm not too sure. I mean, these players have been on quite a bit of a break. I don't know how many of these young players actually played in the Chan competition. I'm not too clued up on that. But the betting's very, very close. And, it'll be a brave man to put money on the other side.
Well, Brandon, it's a fascinating tale, actually, because in Tumelen Kune, although he was kicked in the face in the second game against Mali, he pulled out of the third game with an injured ankle. He's now been declared fit and is likely to start tonight for Kaizer Chiefs. We've got 4 or 5 players on both sides that were involved in Chan. We've also got Killer Mpela, who signed a pre-contract to go from Sundowns to Chiefs and will go there at the end of the season. He's now being touted as possibly in the squad tonight, may even come on as a sub for Sundowns against Kaizer Chiefs, the team he's moving to. This game has got everything. We're at Loftus tonight. We're at a 7:30 kickoff. We're looking at a huge, huge game for South Africa. The top 2 sides in the country at the moment. Orlando Pirates still struggling to make any kind of headway with all these games in hand. You've got Bidvest Wits hanging around the periphery of what's going on at the top. But it looks to me like tonight we're almost talking about a title decider. And you're telling me 18-10 Sundowns with both the guys I can see on Top Odds. A draw 21-10, which is the obvious thing to do, and Chiefs 16-10. All pretty much of a muchness, isn't it?
Yeah. Once again, Absa PSL, I follow the draw in most of the matches, especially in the big games. And that's why you see the draw just over 11-10. The bookmakers think there's something. They can't separate the sides. And it might just be one of those boring 0-0 evenings.
If it's a 0-0 evening, I'm going to be gutted. Because Sundowns one thing Sundowns have done since Pitso's gone back there in place of Johan Neerskins, the former Dutch legend. Pitso does get goals. Cuthbert Malajila has been an absolute revelation up front for them. And I like the way that they come forward with all kinds of midfielders breaking forward. I think the much maligned Pitso Mosimane has done well to put Sundowns in up there this season. But I think you're right. I'm looking at about a 2-2 draw, or if anything, maybe a narrow Chiefs win.
Well, geez, I'm not going to put my money down in that game.
No.
I think we can have a look at the Pirates versus Zulu game.
Yeah, just looking, yeah.
And if you have a look at the betting there, I mean, the bookies have Pirates up at clear favourites, both even money. The draw at 5-2, and Amazulu at 5-2. So, geez, I don't know. It's a lot of fixtures coming up for Pirates. I think they play tomorrow, tonight, and then they play again on the weekend, and then on Monday, I think, or Tuesday. So, I mean, they've got a fairly busy fixture schedule, ahead of them, and they need to pick up as many points as they can.
Yeah. I mean, Orlando Pirates all over SuperSport on Saturday, and then got done 2-1 by Mamanyang and Dino Ndlovu, who's on loan. I'm worried about Pirates. And I've got a young goalkeeper next to me, Brandon, Dylan, who's been at Swallows and he's been at Aces. But who did you say to me earlier was the best coach in South Africa that you've had?
Craig Rosley was by far the best coach I've had. Outfield coach.
The Amazulu coach.
When I was at Aces, he was our technical director, and he was absolutely brilliant. Absolutely brilliant.
Yeah. Which is quite an interesting perspective on Craig and on Amazulu, who kind of go up and down, don't they? They go from threatening the leaders to threatening their coach. Okay, well, maybe we better move on. I don't think either of those games are going to be a comfortable 500 rand bet, because I like Amazulu. Of all the South African sides, I would say I'm an Lesotho man. So I'm a bit reluctant to bet against Orlando Pirates, given the strength of feeling from the Ghost. How about we look at the FA Cup? Brandon, should we do that?
I don't want to look at the FA Cup.
You're a Man United fan, Brandon. Maybe cups aren't your thing.
What are we looking at that cup for? I mean, geez, if there was anything to break Manchester United hearts, it was last night. I'm lost for words, as you can hear. I don't know which way's forward. Maybe Mata is the way forward. I have no idea. But, geez, we're not used to shouting baying for blood in a League Cup final.
Exactly.
I mean, when was the last time that was so important to Manchester United? I don't think I was born.
No, absolutely right.
Yeah, just disappointing. And now to have a look at the FA Cup and throw some salt in the wind, I suppose we'll have to do that.
Brandon, we've got a running joke here. Can you just point us towards Man United's fourth round game this weekend? Everyone's playing in the fourth round of the FA Cup. Where's Man United? I can't see them.
You know what? And I'm going to say this on radio.
No, easy, mate. No, don't say that.
Since I played you, glory, Man United.
Yeah. Remember that day, mate? Yeah, you played me, glory, Man United, and it hurt.
Oh, well, I got it all back. But, I mean, if you have a look at the FA Cup, geez, I mean, do you follow the big sides in the fourth round? This is the cup where the giant killers, this is the games that they win are in the fourth round, knocking out the big sides. And once again, this is a minefield. I mean, if you Stevenage are playing Everton, you have to like Everton in a game like that. Man City, you have to like, although, I mean, it's not worth putting a rand on them. Yeah. The closest game that I see here might be Chelsea-Stoke.
Yes.
And the reason I say that is because I really don't know what Mourinho is looking at. I mean, I don't think that with the squad he's got, he can be, although they are very good, that they can be on three fronts. And then, still win a Premier League and then go off and, be in the Champions League and be in the fifth round of the FA Cup. And I think Stoke is a side, under Mark Hughes, that is scoring goals, and they might just be able to get something. Maybe a return leg at home. I'm not too sure. I don't know how you guys see it.
I've got a little one for you, Brandon. Wigan, who lost in the cup final last year and got relegated, are playing Crystal Palace, bottom of the Premier League. And I would have thought they'll be quite fired up. Now in the Championship, playing the bottom of the Premier League, and I'm just trying to look at the odds there. 28-10 Crystal Palace, 21-20 Wigan. That's not enough, is it? It's not a big enough shift.
Wigan, they're just over 11-10. I'm going to be watching one play in that game if it is televised, and that's Nick Powell, because I think we need him to come all the way back to Man United. Apparently, he's having a fairly good season. But generally the sides that do badly in the league have good cup runs, and it's the last thing that they can look for. But Crystal Palace, I think, will be looking to stay up, and could just be interesting. Okay,
what are you saying? That Stevenage Everton might be a good one? No? Chelsea Stoke is that? Chelsea Stoke would be quite interesting if Mourinho doesn't put out his best side. Dylan, what do you think?
Personally, I'm a Liverpool supporter, but I think our tie against Bournemouth away could be trickier. Obviously, Dean Furman played for Oldham last season and they kicked us out. Now he's gone to Bournemouth, maybe trying to give them a bit of luck as well. But I think with the brand of football we're playing at the moment, going away on with a field that's obviously not going to be as lush as the Premier League fields, I think they'll make it difficult for us.
Yeah, guys, Bongani Khumalo and Dean Furman play for Doncaster. Tequila Ranti plays for Bournemouth. Tequila Ranti's doing all right there. But he's not scoring many goals. So we have to look at a situation where there's a nice little South African involvement. You've got the potential of a huge shock, because I think Liverpool will be more intent on getting into the top four and getting into the Champions League for the first time in 500 years. So I am hoping, As
500?
Yeah.
I thought it was 600.
Yeah, mate, it's a long time since they've been in the Champions League, Liverpool. So I think that's an interesting one to pick out, Dylan. That Bournemouth might be just the right side to
I hope
to
not,
back,
though,
or for a draw maybe. Well, I wonder what are the odds on a draw there? I've now clicked off and I'm trying to click back on. What are the odds on a draw? Bournemouth Liverpool 41-10, 4-1 on a draw. Because normally what happens here is the home side in the FA Cup, when they're a small side, are hoping to get a draw so they can go to Anfield for the replay. That becomes the biggest day of your life. I remember all my mates playing for Marlow against Spurs. They just wanted to play at White Hart Lane. They weren't really that interested in winning. They just wanted to get the replay so they could all go and play in a big Premier League stadium. Bournemouth's slightly different. They're much higher league than Marlow were. But all these small sides want to get to play at Anfield or Trafford, the Emirates. And Bournemouth might be looking for a draw there so that they can take Liverpool for a replay at Anfield and the big 40,000 crowd. So I'm looking at a draw there, 4-1. What about if we put money on a draw, Bournemouth-Liverpool?
Oh, that might be... if you have a look at the betting here, Bournemouth should be much better odds than what they are. I mean, they're just under 7-1, 6.5-1 with both bookmakers. And you have a look at that and you say to yourself, gee whiz, I mean, Liverpool would go off to, I don't know, Sunderland, who are at the bottom of the table, and you might get 8-9-1, 10-1 Sunderland at home. So, I mean, the betting here is telling you that something's not quite right. And the reason you look at that, I mean, Liverpool 40% away at Bournemouth. If this was a Premier League game, I mean, you wouldn't be able to put anything on them. That's how short they'd be. So in this situation, you never know what side he's going to play. Once again, the squad issue comes into it. Where do their loyalties lie? Are they looking solely at top four? That's where I think they should be looking. If I were Liverpool, I would be out in round one of everything else and concentrate on that fourth spot because, I mean, Champions League football, they keep Suarez. They sign quality players. So I don't think winning an FA Cup is going to do much for them. And you might be right, and Bournemouth might be the side just to get on over them.
That's what I'm saying is that I think that they'll go for the draw because it's the glory of that replay they're looking for. I think we're looking towards something. Dylan, we'll talk about this in a minute. Brandon, Maz, the has been following the Australian Open tennis all week. Dylan next to me doesn't like Andrew Murray, which is ridiculous, and Comfort. We're all quite interested in maybe there's a tennis bet here. What do you think?
Sure, most definitely. I mean, you don't always get the best prices in tennis. I mean, the reason being there's only two guys on the field, and generally one of them's an outstanding favourite. Although we have seen a lot of upsets. The betting's not out yet on top odds, but I can do a bit of research for you guys if you want to. Okay. Obviously, the massive game is Rafael Nadal and Roger Federer, and I just don't see, how that game's going. Both bookmakers have Nadal up at 6-10, Federer at 13-10. Once again, I don't think I can be putting money on Roger Federer. I think Nadal's better than him. I think Nadal might beat him. Where money could be made maybe is in the other semi-final. And that's Thomas Berdych versus Wawrinka. And I've been very impressed with Wawrinka.
Yeah.
He beat Djokovic. Djokovic, had no answer to that big serve. But there again, the prices are short. 7-10 Wawrinka, 12-10 Thomas Berdych. Both bookmakers offering that. And that's a coin toss, eh?
Yeah, it is. It absolutely is. I just want to say, guys, briefly, I was at Irene Country Club yesterday, and there's big stands being built, and I couldn't work out what was going on. And there it is, the Davis Cup, South Africa against Monaco, 31st of January to the 2nd of February. We'll be playing Davis Cup in Irene, close to Midrand, Santon, Centurion, Joburg and Pretoria. If any tennis fans out there, Irene Country Club, South Africa in the Davis Cup, might be worth having a look. But yeah, we haven't got the odds yet for the tennis. Leon Petzer, Thumper Pigeon, the guy that gives us our money to bet, and his mate Viv, they were saying, Viv in particular, was saying that Happy Lux on Twitter, was saying that he would give us, I think it was 1,000 to put on Arsenal to win the double. And Leon Petzer's just tweeted me with the odds for Arsenal to win the Barclays Premier League and the FA Cup at 23-1. And to win the Premier League, the Champions League, and all of it, 716-1, which obviously Arsenal are going to do. I mean, we all know Arsenal are going to win the Champions League. Bayern Munich are quivering already about that one coming up. Bloody hell! So
I'll tell you what.
What do you think?
I'll tell you what, Neil. Burn your money rather. Put it in the middle of your desk there and have a nice bonfire, brown marshmallows, because that's not going to happen. I don't think they'll win the Premier League. Maybe the FA Cup. Champions League, you're out already. Let's just put that
Did
there.
you hear that? Yeah. Did you hear what he said then? Did you hear what Brandon said?
Just
We're
put
playing
it all
Bayern
on
Munich.
him.
Last year we went to the Allianz Arena and beat Bayern Munich, even though we were 3-0 down from the first leg. Didn't we win 2-0? Yeah, no, listen, everyone's very worried about Bayern.
Put it
Obviously.
on City.
Here we go. Comfort. Man City.
City for the quadruple, maybe.
Oh.
Yeah, City for a quadruple.
Dylan and Comfort are both having a go now. Manchester City, what were they 5 years ago? Nothing. Give them
Where are we now?
one oily shake
That's all
from
that
Abu
matters.
Dhabi.
At the beginning of the season, I would have loved to put money on United not finishing on the top 4. I think that would have been an amazing bet.
Or just a straightforward bet, Man City to finish above Man United would have been interesting.
Liverpool above United, I think, would have been also brilliant.
Excellent. Southampton above United. Crystal Palace above United. Sorry, what?
Neal.
I don't know if you remember us discussing the first week or in August last year. Everton were 330 to 1 to win the league, and I think they were 30 to 1 to finish above Liverpool.
Yeah.
And they had done that in the last couple of seasons, and this season, it might happen again.
Yeah.
You never know. Martinez has got that side. He's done some good business. He's brought in a few good players, and that could happen. But just to sidetrack to rugby just a little bit. I don't know if you guys look at the rugby sevens. It's in Las Vegas this weekend. South Africa, the Blitzbokke, have come off a win, obviously beating New Zealand down in PE. Yeah. And now, if you have a look at the betting here, both bookmakers have South Africa up at 28 to 10. That's just under 3 to 1 to win the tournament in Las Vegas.
Dylan's looking encouraged by that. Yeah, okay. That's interesting. I hadn't seen that one.
Always difficult. New Zealand are the favourites at 2 to 1. That's Allen Bookmaker and World Sports Betting. Both have New Zealand up at 2 to 1. They obviously decide to beat Fiji at 7 to 2. Yeah. England are the next best at 8 to 1. But I think the winner will come out of the top 3. And you're getting a little bit of value for money. If you put the $500 on South Africa, I mean, the return will be $1,500. So, yeah, I don't know.
Brandon, that's brilliant.
For the whole weekend. There's an interest for the whole weekend. But, I mean, you guys talk about it and have a look because the soccer's an absolute minefield this weekend.
Football's always a minefield, mate. Ask Gordon Iggesund. Okay, mate, got it. I think that last one suddenly came in there, didn't it? You got nearly 3 to 1 on South Africa to win in Las Vegas. Always a gamble in Las Vegas, and I think Dylan looked quite encouraged by that. Right, Brandon, we'll be discussing this. We'll be checking it with Leon Petzer, Thumper Pigeon, and speaking to Viv Pike as well about this Arsenal bet. Maybe the double, maybe not the treble. You're right, mate. I'm afraid. But anyway, listen, Brandon. I hope that next week there's good news and Man United have moved above mid-table, and I look forward to speaking to you again.
I might not speak to you next week, Neil, if I'm not above mid-table.
Just play me a song, mate.
Just quickly. What do you make on Juan Mata and that signing? I mean, it's going to happen. It'll happen probably today. I know he was going for a medical, and 37 million. Is it worth it? Well,
we've had a slight dispute. Dylan says that Juan Mata plays just behind the strikers, and really, do they need? Because sometimes Van Persie plays just in front of Rooney, and it works quite well. Would you then add Mata to that?
Well, they've got Kagawa who plays in a similar position, and he never plays. Yeah. He's preferred Januzaj in that position, which I think is quite strange. United have always played a fast game with wide wingers, and I think Mata's very more slow, and he likes to link up. So I don't know. I think it's a big name signing and it's good, but I don't think it's what they need. Well,
and what worries me, Brandon, is that the Mole, our underground reporter from the UK, says that Juan Mata is quite likely to stub his toe and fail the medical after last night's performance.
Well, that's what we were worried about. But, I think United fans are all saying he's the wrong player. He might have been a wrong player in a Ferguson side that we're used to. I mean, if David Moyes is trying to change the philosophy of how we play, and I think he is. I mean, last night, I've never seen Man United play so defensively when they were 1-0 up, and it still wasn't good enough to get through. Making substitutions like he did, bringing off Valencia and putting on Evra. And
couldn't believe that.
And he did the same thing, in the week before that. I mean, he brought on Chris Smalling, and when you 3-0 down at Chelsea, I mean, what is he trying to achieve? Obviously, he's trying to change the way we play. And why not have Rooney and Van Persie up front and put Mata behind him? I just don't think he's had both of them fit. It's either that or they don't want to play in the same team together. So,
Brandon, there's no good wrestling with it, mate. Just accept Arsenal are the better side. Thank you, Brandon. We'll speak to you next week, and I think we might go with that sevens bet. Great stuff, Brandon from Top Odds, our backers. TopOdds.com. Thanks, Brandon.
Visual Radio. It's radio like you've never seen it before. Balls.co.za